Thanks for tuning into the BoshNRoll channel. Liking and subscribing the channel is free and easy, and it helps me out a lot. If you want to go a little farther with your support, I have Patreon and YouTube membership available, which includes access to the BoshNRoll Discord server, early access to things I'm working on, sideboard plans, cards I'm buying. You could have me play your deck on the channel, and the highest tiers come with individual coaching sessions. If you use the YouTube membership option, you get sweet, unique YouTube badges and emotes for the channel. If you want to play what I'm playing, you can use the code BoshNRoll to support my channel while you shop for cards at tcgplayer.com. And if you're playing on Magic Online, a cardhoarder.com loan account can let you play any deck anytime. If you want to wear your support, there is BoshNRoll merch available. All of these links are in the video description below. Thank you so much for watching. Now let's go play some Magic. Welcome to another BoshNRoll Legacy video. Today I'm playing Bug Dreadnought from subscriber Robin. And Robin has, in this deck, a card that got a lot of attention when it was spoiled a few years ago, but never did anything, Scroll of Fate. Long ago, in ancient times on this channel, I did a mono blue Dreadnought list with Scroll of Fate. It was kind of fun, but I don't think the whole shell was there. And now the shell is there. Now we have a bounty of riches, a bounty of ways to cheat Phyrexian Dreadnought into play, and I'm here for it. So the core of this deck, it's basically a bug tempo deck. Like, we have Stifle, Daze, Tarmogoyf, all the cards you'd expect there. We also have Phyrexian Dreadnought, of course, which combos with Stifle to give you a 1 mana 12/12 trample, well, 2 mana with the Stifle. And then Scroll of Fate, you tap it to manifest a card from your hand. A manifested card is a face down 2/2 creature. You can turn it face up for its mana cost if it's a creature. So you tap Scroll of Fate, put a 2/2 into play, and then for 1 mana at any time, it can become a 12/12 if it's Phyrexian Dreadnought. At any time for green colorless, it can become a Tarmogoyf. At any time for blue-green 1, it can become Uro. And because it's already in play, its ETB trigger of Sacrifice it doesn't trigger. So you can sneak Uro into play, you can sneak Dreadnought in, you can surprise them with the size of your attacker with a Tarmogoyf. Those are all things Scroll of Fate can do. Lazav the Multifarious. I also played a Bug Dreadnought League on the channel a while ago, long before Modern Horizons 2 came out. This is old, kind of old. Lazav is pretty sick. Blue-black, 1/3. When it enters the battlefield, surveil 1, and then X. Lazav becomes a copy of target creature in your graveyard with mana value X, except its name is Lazav, it's legendary in addition to its other types, and it has this ability. So, if your opponent discards or counters or kills your Dreadnought, Lazav can turn into Dreadnought for 1 mana. Lazav can also copy Uro, so you can play Lazav on turn 2, play Uro on turn 3, it's in the graveyard, and then pay 3 mana to turn Lazav into Uro and attack on turn 4 with an Uro. You can also surveil Uro or Dreadnought into your graveyard with Lazav and just attack with that creature next turn. In the last league I did with Lazav, I copied Uro before combat, attacked and got the Uro trigger. After they chump blocked Uro, I turned it into a 12/12 trample, which are all things you could do. So I'm pretty excited that I got to play with Lazav again. I also added Dress Down to this deck as a 1-of in the main and a 1-of in the sideboard. Robin didn't originally have Dress Down in the list, but I think this card is really good just as a Magic card on top of its synergies with Phyrexian Dreadnought. Like, it's another way to cheat Dreadnought in. It's another way to treat Uro in. The downside of this is it's pretty bad with Tarmogoyf, because it makes Tarmogoyf a 0/1 while it's in play, but it's an enchantment that kills itself, so it also grows Tarmogoyf. If Tarmogoyf can survive the turn, it's a 0/1. So there's some temporary anti-synergy followed by some synergy with Goyf. Baleful Strix loses Death Touch with Dress Down in play. Also, if Dress Down is somehow in play before your Strixes, you don't draw a card. So a little bit of tension there, but I do think that Dress Down being as good as it is against the Urza Saga decks, and just generally a good card, and having all the synergy it does, I think it's worth the small points of non-synergy. And I moved some of the removal suite around a little. I changed the land count. Robin had 1 of each basic, and I don't think you get to play 2 non-islands in your Daze deck. So I cut the swamp for an extra Tropical Island. Tropical Island also helps support Uro, which basic swamp doesn't do. So I just cleaned up some of the removal and mana base. I changed the sideboard around a little bit too. I added a Hydroblast there was some concern about Blood Moon, so now we have a 1-mana answer to Blood Moon. If we can float black in response to Blood Moon, we can Abrupt Decay it, but there is an answer now to a resolved Blood Moon. There were a couple of weird one-ofs in the deck when Robin sent it to me. There was one Rancor, there was one Chrome Mox, and while I see where those would be good, I think that the key to doing something like this is to do the same thing early and often. Like, the games where you get to Chrome Mox on turn 1 and cast a Dreadnought are going to be outweighed by the games where you just really need some action and draw Chrome Mox on turn 5, and it doesn't do anything. So, and the best creature in your deck already has Trample, so Rancor doesn't really do a whole lot for the deck. So I cut some of those fun ofs for some more respectable legacy cards like Fatal Push and made some sideboard changes. I added Plague Engineer and Thoughtseize. This deck was pretty soft to things like Goblins, Death and Taxes, so I cleaned that up. Plague Engineer goes a long way. There were a ton of Pithing Needles in the sideboard. I changed those into those anti-combo cards in a dress down, and this is the list I'm going to roll with for now. So let's get into Bug Stiflenought. I'm on the draw in round number 1 with a 1-lander, but it has Brainstorm and a bunch of sweet action on 2, so I'm going to keep. This is a Dazed Stifle deck with... It has 21 lands in it, which is kind of a lot for a Dazed Stifle deck, but 4 of them are Wasteland, so I actually think this hand is fine. It will depend on how fast my opponent's going and how hard they want to fight over my mana, for the most part. So we're playing against Doomsday. Like, who plays Duress in their main deck? It's just Doomsday, and Brainstorm is the only take here. I mean, they could take Dress Down. I guess it depends on how long they think this game is going to last. Dress Down is really good against Thassa's Oracle, though. Losing that Brainstorm stings. Finding Stifle feels good. I wanted a land there, but as far as cards that aren't lands go, I'm into Stifle. So they cycled Street Wraith, definitely Doomsday, confirmed. They're pondering. So now the choice is, do I ram this Stifle onto the first, well, not the first target. I could have stifled Street Wraith, but do I stifle this fetch land? Or do I wait for Thassa's Oracle? And I think I stifle the fetch land because it also messes up their ponder. They have to keep the cards that they didn't necessarily want. And do I want green or black here? An Underground Seertrop. My cantrips are black. My ways to win the game are green. I think I'd rather cantrip than win the game. You all know me. Bang. 1 mystery card. They could have Daze, that is a card they play. But if they have it, I want it out of their hand now. And if they don't, I want them stuck with those cards they didn't want from their ponder. Ooh, Force Pitching Pact of Negation. Interesting. So we got a pretty strong 2-for-1, but if their cards in hand are... Alright. So they're personal tutoring up Doomsday. But getting their hand low is worth a lot because Dress Down, blanking, Thassa's Oracle is a big deal. Finding the land insane here. Do I want a raw card or do I want the selection? And I think I want the raw card. So black, blue, Baleful Strix. Could have also played Tarmogoyf there and just gone to work. So they're just casting Doomsday, going to Hellbent to do it. There will be an opportunity to dress them down. Alright, Doomsday is cast. So if they make a pile that starts with Ideas Unbound, that's something I can fight. Like, I think I respond to the ideas with Dress Down, and then they can't Oracle that turn, and then they have to discard their hand. I'm going to let them get into their turn, but they've seen the Dress Down, so either they're going to have some way to work through it. I guess if they just play Duress, put Duress on the top of their pile, they can strip my Dress Down, and then do what they want afterwards. I hope I just draw Force of Will and make this easy. Or a backup Stifle, or something. They resolve their Doomsday. Now let's see how we do over here. Brainstorm's not the worst. Now we're in that, like, playing chicken mode, where do I think they... I guess if they... Brainstorm was the perfect find, because if they stacked Duress on top to clear the Dress Down and then combo off next turn, I can Brainstorm to hide the Dress Down. And if Duress is the only card in their hand, then obviously they can't keep the combo going. And I just got to draw Dress Down next turn. Or they can just do nothing. That's also fine. So I think I Brainstorm in the end step now. Just looking to keep any velocity going right now while my mana isn't tied up. None of this is really what I was looking for. They would actually be dead right now if I played Tarmogoyf on the turn that I played Baleful Strix, so I should have thought of that. Like, the fact that Dress Down is just Time Walk is a big deal. If their hand right now is Duress, Ideas Unbound, that doesn't beat me. If they have, like, Mystical Dispute, that does beat me. That would be a weird card to have in the main deck, but okay. So, if they can counter Dress Down, they win. If they don't, I win. Oh, I guess Pact of Negation could be a card they have. Nope. Alright. They just have nothing. They're conceding. GG. Dress Down. Too good. This sideboard. Thoughtseizes are coming in. The fourth Force of Will's coming in. I didn't talk about this in the deck tech, but I actually love that there's not all four forces in the main. That's just good deck building. I like it. When you expect the game to go short and you don't really need to interact on a lot of axes, plus you have Stifle and Daze to fight the small fights, like, I just really like that. Scroll of Fate's not going to be part of this matchup, unfortunately. We did all this work to have the this cool card in the deck, and it's just not good. I think Nullrod and Pithing Needle should come in too. They do play Artifact Mana, Lion's Eye Diamond's part of some Doomsday piles, and Pithing Needle I can name Street Wraith. That can mess with things. Don't think I'm going to need Fatal Push. Dreadnought gets a lot worse when we don't have the scroll in. I mean, I always try to stay true to what the deck's doing in sideboarding, and this is not a failing of the deck. It's just that this matchup is not about making a 12-12 at all. It's about being alive on turn 5, and then by then you can figure out whatever you want. I actually like Liliana the Veil. That's just the sort of thing that can start pressuring their hand or mess them up if they try to play a long game against me. So I do want to have some of that ability still around. And they're Bug. And the reason to be Bug is like sideboard Uro, so I'm going to respect the possibility of Uro as well. Maybe I want Surgical Extraction. Is that better than Baleful Strix? Like, if I like Thoughtseize Doomsday and then extract it, the game gets a lot easier. If they're pivoting onto Uro, Extraction helps that game as well. I actually think Surgical Extraction is better than Pithing Needle in the context of me also having discard spells in the deck. I'll leave one Dreadnought in for style points. Alright, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to keep this hand. It has multiple points of interaction and a cantrip. Lotus Petal, they're coming out quick here. Ooh. Are we just getting turn 1 dumpstered? Is that even good? Alright, well, checking me with Duress is good. So they can Dark Ritual, Duress, land Doomsday. But I have 3 points of interaction. Like, I can waste the land that they use to play Doomsday, which could slow them down. I could Thoughtseize their hand afterwards, which probably won't matter much. I'm interested to see if they take Thoughtseize or Daze here. They took Daze. Oh, another Dark Ritual. Alright. So, a second Dark Ritual, and they have 1 black floating. I'm not a Doomsday expert, but I'm trying to think, like, if they have, like, Lion's Eye Diamond, Street Wraith as the last 2 cards in their hand, I think they can win right now. Is that true? They play LED, they cycle Street Wraith, in response they float blue, 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 then they have blue, 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 black in their pool. That's enough to play Ideas Unbound and play Cavern of Souls as their land for turn with 2 cards left in their deck. They can win right now if their hand is exactly LED and Street Wraith. Okay, we're getting a turn. Doesn't necessarily mean anything. So I can Thoughtseize them, or I can ponder trying to find a spell of some variety. I think I want to Thoughtseize them. Like, we saw them try to Doomsday from Hellbent last game, and Thoughtseizing here is comparable to Doomsdaying from Hellbent. I don't think Personal Tutor is part of their plan, so I'm going to take the Force of Will and just hope that Personal Tutor plus... So they have no mana. Alright, so they have no mana, or they have no card. This is a weird spot. They went hard on that. I'm really curious if this is actually a good Doomsday play or not. So I'm going to brainstorm. Okay, Stifle is the Nutter Butters. So put back Wasteland and Tropical Island, I think. Or is it Baleful Strix? No, it's Trop. And I can pass the turn. I'm holding up Stifle. Stifling an Oracle trigger is a big deal. At some point they have to generate mana and then also do stuff. Are they just going to like draw 4 cards and then go Cavern, Petal, Oracle? I am fascinated with this line right now. LED. Okay. Alright, they lose. There's nothing they can do about it. Yeah, Stifle you. GG. That was weird. I'm pretty sure they messed that up somehow. Like, I'm not a Doomsday expert, but turn 1 Doomsday with Force backup with no actual plan to win the game in the next 3 or 4 turns doesn't seem like the right way to do that. I don't know. Whatever. 1-0. Next round. I'm on the play in the second round, and this hand is close in many different directions, but I don't think it's actually there on any of them. I'm gonna mulligan that. The 2 Dreadnoughts with no way to pay them out hurts a lot. This one also just does so many things on 2 mana, but does nothing on 1. Ouch. This kind of hurts. Alright, paid off. All the work we did was worth it here. Dreadnought to the bottom, and I think I have to give up on Fatal Push, or do I want to try to curve Fatal Push? No, Abrupt Decay is just a more generally strong legacy card. So, this is my 5-card hand. I'm much happier with it than any of the 7s or 6s I saw, but both of those were so close. Just missing like a land or just one thing or one different thing. Thoughtseize, okay. So taking Abrupt Decay would mean that whatever they're going to do next, like their Stoneforge Mystic or whatever, this does look like it's Dead Gael. Scrubland Thoughtseize is a pretty specific line. Guess we'll see what their take is. Yeah, my guess was going to be Abrupt Decay. This is a Wasteland deck, but we play a lot of lands. I'm just going to lean in on that one. So I could jam the Goyf, I could jam the Lazav. I think I want the Lazav. Lazav just sets up so much. If I mill Uro here, they have to answer or die. Alright, I'm going to put that in the graveyard. That makes Tarmogoyf huge. Wasting me here would be unfortunate. But, like I said, I do play a lot of lands. I expect Stoneforge Mystic, probably. Alright, respect the Lazav. Glad I led on that and not Tarmogoyf. Ooh, that dressed out. Should have kept it. Now we know. I'm going to play Strix. This one I don't care about if they kill it. And finding some more lands here is pretty important. Like the way they left this mana unspent. I don't want to just jam Tarmogoyf into a on-curve Fatal Push or Swords to Plowshares. I'll let them make their mana unspent or give me the 2-for-1 on Baleful Strix. Those are your choices. Now they've seen Dressdown and Lazav, they should know I'm a Dreadnought deck. The jig is up on that. Right, there's Stoneforge Mystic. I don't have a blue card to pitch to force, and I'm not sure if I would force it anyway. Probably would, honestly. Okay, now I have force. And here's a big juicy Tarmogoyf, 4/5. And I do have force backup now, so that's nice. And Tarmogoyf is bigger than Batterskull. If they have Kaldra in their deck and in their hand already, they're probably going to win with it. Right, they did have a second plow. I don't think Force of Will's going to get better this game. Like at any point they could just cast a Thoughtseize and collapse my ability to force them anyway. And just having a creature that is bigger than Batterskull in play matters a lot. Stifle would have been a great draw there, but no love. I'm just going to crush for 4, leave Baleful Strix back. Like if Batterskull wants to come in and absorb 4 damage and just die, that's fine. I will play my land out. I don't want to get him to Taract and lose the land. I don't need to. But we are looking at the primary problem with Phyrexian Dreadnought decks right now, is that they need an A and a B to function. And most of their, like if we assume that Phyrexian Dreadnought is A, most of the Bs do stuff without Dreadnought. Like Stifle has text without Dreadnought. Could have just stifled this Germ coming into play. Could have stifled the Stoneforge trigger. Dress Down could remove Lifelink. But the Dreadnought doesn't do anything on its own. This will be interesting. Like they should take Tarmogoyf. Okay, I was just about to say they should take Tarmogoyf, but I suspect they'll take Strix. Yeah, I think, and I don't know what's in their hand if they can answer Tarmogoyf or not, but taking the Strix so you can just push for 5 when we're both still at pretty high life totals, leaving a creature that's bigger than bigger than Tarmogoyf, or bigger than Batterskull in play, I don't like it. And now I'm just turtled up again. Baleful Strix doing work here. Strix drawing another Strix when we're in this sketchy little resource battle is pretty nice. Liliana of the Veil, sure. I will sacrifice my Strix, I think. Yeah. So I could sacrifice Tarmogoyf and then kill Liliana, but I actually think that putting us both to Hellbent, I'm not sure who that favors actually, but I have the biggest creature on the board. I have a 6/7, and they don't have anything of the sort. There we go. That's the money. Yeah, I'm gonna put in Scroll. I would really like to cast the Strix in the face of this Liliana, but I think that Dreadnought's gonna win this game very quickly. This also helps me get ahead of the Liliana discard. Gothy Voidwalker. Okay, so Liliana will get to steal my Baleful Strix because of this. That's pretty good. When they see me discard Strix here, they should be extremely suspicious. Because Strix is such a good card on this board state that they should know exactly what I'm up to here. They have 1 card left, just discarded Bitter Blossom. They appear to be spending mana. Oh, do they have a second Liliana? That sucks. Hopefully they just plus it, but I don't think they will. Of course they won't. That doesn't make any sense. Alright, well, Dreadnought is a better creature than Tarmogoyf. I'll just have to take a big hit along the way. The Stoneforge Mystic can't attack here. Right, they didn't get in with Apparition either. Apparition was a safe attack. I guess that's not true. If my hand is just some brick, Apparition is a terrible attack. If it's an actual creature that I want, it's a great attack. That's great too. I have exactly enough mana to cast Tarmogoyf, and then do I want to attack the Liliana? If I attack Liliana and they block with Batterskull, they have the 5 mana to move Batterskull onto their Voidwalker, which I'm not excited about. I could also just try to clock them to the face over the next 2 turns. I think that's a better play. Attack my opponent's life points directly. Alright, they lined up the obvious block. Bang. They take 4 total here. They take 8, but they gain 4. Then I jam Tarmogoyf. And equipping Batterskull to the shadow creature is a problem. But otherwise, this board is in pretty good shape. Let's see if they see the line to equip Voidwalker, or if they want to pick it up, redeploy it. They could also just like cast one of my things. They seem to be spending 5 mana. They see the line. Tarmogoyf's an 8/9. That's the max, right? Them discarding that Bitter Blossom. We achieved it. Just a natural 8/9 Tarmogoyf. I don't know if I've ever seen that in the wild. And they did, in fact, put the... So I'm on a 1-turn clock here. I need to remove the Voidwalker or win the game. And this having vigilance means they can even cast the spells. Oh, that's so close to being relevant. So I can attack them for 20, but not 22. And they have the 2 blockers. And I'm just dead to the Voidwalker. Okay. I've lost the game. That was close. Bummer. That was on the Mull to 5 as well. Like, this is a matchup where every card matters. We were just like a card short there, and it turned out to matter. To no surprise to anyone. I think Dress Down's great here. Toxic Deluge is good. Needle's good. We saw Dothy, Voidwalker, Stoneforge Mystic, the equipment, and Liliana all that can be named with Needle. Fatal Push is good. I think Daze is probably medium. Burrow's going to be one of the best cards. I don't love Force of Will in a matchup like this. Null Rod. Well, I have my Scrolls, which are good cards. Just turning any card, any dead draw into a 2/2 in the late game is relevant. But they have all the equipment. They have the Stoneforge Mystic. Maybe I do want to go a little lighter on Scroll and up on Null Rod. I could go thinner on Dreadnought too. Like, that Dreadnought sitting in my hand that whole game without really doing anything hurt me pretty badly. So this looks like a pretty reasonable spread of things to do. Plague Engineer. Do I think that they are a Thalia deck? That's also a Liliana deck. Voidwalker is an X2. Stoneforge Mystic is an X2. Skyclave Apparition is an X2. Into Liliana's minus ability, maybe I could just drag them into the mud and we can both play that game. And I'll shave another Daze for that. Does that make sense? Now, I am kind of committing to betting I can beat them on board because I've boarded out basically all of my counter spells. So let's see if I win that bet. I might need some Force of Wills on the draw, but on the play, I'm going to try to keep them off balance long enough. Right, I can keep this. Yeah, well, when you only keep 2 Dazes in your deck and one's in the opening hand, just like we drew it up. They have the Thoughtseize. I'm not going to Daze a Thoughtseize. I think they probably just take Baleful Strix, and then we keep playing this game. I don't want to set myself back on mana. Like, that's the problem. If I Daze here, then I just don't get to do anything on turn 2 anyway. Ooh, they let me keep my Strix? That's a lot of respect for the Scroll of Fate. I like it. Ooh. Am I this guy? I could just cast the Strix that they let me have, or I could waste them. Yeah, I'll waste them. Bang. Let's play that same turn cycle again. Cheese factor. Sometimes that will look like nothing happened and we just play the same turn cycle again. Sometimes they'll lose the game on the spot. The big thing that I gave up there was Baleful Strix. Like, if they had another discard spell to strip my Baleful Strix, that's a problem. They had no respect for Stifle at any point there. Too late, I mean. Oh, are they gonna Dark Ritual an Opposition Agent? That doesn't matter, I have Daze, and they know I have Daze. So, alright. Blue-black, Baleful Strix. Begin the parade of extra cards. I'd really like to get Uro into my graveyard, so I'll need another land to make that happen, of course. If they know about the Daze, what's the plan here? The plan is Bitter Blossom. Is that a card that I want to Daze? Is this a card I care about at all? Oh, I saw Bitter Blossom game 1. I should have the Plague Engineers in the deck. That was loose. Alright, well, I can Daze this thing. And might as well. That grows my Tarmogoyf. This thing's going to be hard to get through. I'm not exactly coming out of the gates blazing here. I don't have a third land drop anyway. I think that's okay. Right, that's the third land drop. And then I could Lazav here or Strix here. I think I want to Lazav. This represents a lot of pain that could be coming their way, just something they have to respect. I like Baleful Strix, I'm going to keep it. And I can also just yeet my Dreadnought into the graveyard. Like, I could just pay 1, let it die, pay 1, now Lazav's a Dreadnought. No Stifle required. Yeah, maybe I'm supposed to let Bitter Blossom resolve. Oh no. Oh no. Now I feel bad for making the play that I made. Uro sucks now. That Dreadnought play doesn't work now. Mistakes were made. Alright, so black, blue, Baleful Strix, let's go. Brainstorm's a pretty good card. And I can't block or be blocked by this creature, so I'm just going to keep bashing. They did miss their land drop, so we know they have 5 spells in hand over there. One of them is Hymn to Tarok, that's kind of shitty. Stoneforge Mystic, you got it. We got Jitte with the Mystic. So my plan is to use Brainstorm to find an answer to this Voidwalker, and then just spew into my graveyard and bash. Needle. So I can Needle Jitte if everything else fails. I can Needle Voidwalker so they at least can't take my spells. I don't know. Let's see how this plays out. Wasteland, Stifle. Okay, I think I'm off Dreadnought. So I can put back Dreadnought and Uro, because without answering the Voidwalker, none of these cards are playable. So I can put back these two. Is that what I want to do? I could also just play Uro to dig through the cards better, or like, but no, that doesn't make any sense. Alright, so Dreadnought and Uro. I'm going to tuck them away for now. Fetch. There is still a chance that Baleful Strix finds something here, so I can cast the backup Baleful Strix, and then decide if I want to Wasteland them or hold up Stifle or cast Pithing Needle, all of which are viable plays. Alright, that's a good one. That kind of does what I needed to. So I can Needle Stoneforge Mystic, I can Needle Jitte, or I could just waste them and hope they don't have Batterskull. Alright, I'm just going to waste them and hope they don't have Batterskull. Alright, they Fatal Pushed Lazav. Sure. That's the one that wasn't attacking effectively anyway. I guess they can use Voidwalker to take Lazav and be Lazav. What a twist that would be. Lazav gets copied and becomes a different thing. I don't mind getting Wastelanded here. I do have another source of the missing color. Dauthi Voidwalker is a really good card, by the way. Just has respectable stats on a body that you're pretty happy to play with anyway. Okay, they did end up going for the Wasteland. I was wondering if they would even do that, because they're clearly playing on 2 lands over there. But taking me off black does make some sense. Except that you didn't really. So, in with all of my Strixes. I have a choice now. I can cast Needle and see what they do. And I think that is what I'm going to do. If they don't respond with Mystic... Alright, so I can Stifle this trigger. If they have Batterskull, I'm going to wish I did. If they don't have Batterskull... Actually, I can just Stifle the Make a Germ trigger. Alright. Alright, so Stifle that. And then Needle will name Stoneforge Mystic. Or do I want to name Voidwalker? What's it in my exile? Alright, so I'm just going to lock down Stoneforge Mystic. And who's winning this race right now? I guess I should have figured that out first. I go to 8, they go to 5, I go to 4, they go to 3, I die. So I'm not winning this race right now. I'm gonna need some help. They get in for 4. There were a lot of different ways I could play this game that I feel like might have resulted in me being in better shape, but I'm also not sure. Yeah, the hard cast Jitte is rough. I don't know the top of my deck, do I? No. Alright. This is a wild draw. I think I want to fetch anyway. I just don't want to draw a land here. And I do have another one if I end up finding Brainstorm. Rest down. Is that good? What does that do? It takes Shadow off of the Voidwalker, but it also takes Death Touch off of my creatures. Umezawa's Jitte is unrelated to the creature's abilities. That's an Umezawa's Jitte ability. I could just pass the turn. I think I'm going to attack with 1 Strix and then pass the turn. That doesn't make sense. I just messed this up. I should have attacked with all the Strixes and then cast Toxic Deluge. And then save the dress down for later. Yeah, for some reason I thought I could clear all their creatures, but I actually just can't. I can clear the Voidwalker, but then the Jitte is still in play with relevant text. I think I attack with everything and cast Deluge, or I attack with nothing. Oh wait, no. The reason I attacked with 1 is because I don't have Death Touch anyway. Okay, so they get to attack, and I can remove Shadow. I'm going to leave up my black mana because I actually don't have any more. Alright, so you don't have Shadow. Oh, I drew Fatal Push. That was lucky. Didn't even need it. Well, sure. I'll just take the cantrip in this case. My Lonely Strixes. Alright, deck, let's keep it going. How about a hit? That's not a hit. So now I can attack with 2 Strixes. Block. I lose all the Strixes to the Jitte, but the board is clear. I think that's better than jamming my Deluge right now. And I'm not happy about it, but it's not bad. Maybe this Pithing Needle should have named Umezawa's Jitte all along. Yeah, finding that land was a big deal, because now they can push or plow and equip, which makes my life a lot harder. There's the equip. Do they have the 1 mana removal spell? Doesn't look like it. Yeah, so the difference between this play and the other one is that I end up with Toxic Deluge in my hand compared to not having Toxic Deluge in my hand. And I'm at 7 instead of 5. But the board is empty either way. Ooh, I can save one of them if I think that's the right play. Right, so that one's dead, and do I think Stifle's going to get better than this? No, let's go. In for 1, 4-turn clock. Yeah, this is a weird game. This is super scrappy. I don't know how they have 5 cards in their hand and I'm not just dead already, because my hand feels really bad right now. Okay, there's Liliana. She can answer Baleful Strix. Wish I had a Dryad Arbor in the deck for that one. So now holding back this Verdant Catacombs is going to be important. Finding Uro at this point would be insane. Or Tarmogoyf. Let's see how much removal they've been slow rolling. And they didn't cast a removal spell on that turn where the Stoneforge Mystic attacked, and they could have just taken over the whole game with it. But they wouldn't have had the mana for something like Skyclave Apparition in that case. Each player discards, so I've been slow rolling this land for so long. Finally paying off. They discarded Dark Confidant. Okay. Guess that is a risky card when you're at 4. Ouch. My verse, it's been vanished. Alright, now we're starting to fall behind. Liliana is pretty rough. Oh no. I don't control Liliana Planeswalker. They do. I think Toxic Deluge is going to end up getting discarded here, because Triumph can answer their next thing anyway. Yeah, I'm going to lose the Deluge here. I've definitely misbuilt this mana base too. I think there should be 1 less fetch land and 1 more Underground Sea. Like, I didn't notice until this round that there's actually only 2 black sources. So I think I just hit them with the Triumph. I could make them waste some mana equipping and then hit them, but if I draw a 3 mana spell, I'll regret that. I'll regret not having black mana in my deck. Yeah, that's a huge mistake. I cut the basic swamp without considering that that is a 3rd black source, and now like a single wasteland taking me off Liliana forever. But Liliana's the only black card, but right now I am punished by it, and I'm just gonna have to awkwardly and embarrassingly pass the turn here without casting my banger of a spell. Tropical, wait, they did hit an Underground Sea at some point, right? Is it still in the deck? Am I mistaken? Do I still have my Underground Sea? No, I don't. Where is it? Oh, this is my revealed cards, not my exiled cards. That's the problem. There's my Underground Sea. Yeah, I thought so. Damn. Alright. Well, that one's going to cost us the game. I think if I could have stuck Liliana there, got us both Hellbent, had their next creature answered, then we're actually in a pretty interesting game. But in this particular way, it is not interesting. And now they know they can take me off black with a Wasteland. Yeah, it would be nice if I could just answer that. But here we are. Okay, that was a good draw. It's a little late. I'm gonna... Wait. Choose an exile card opponent with a void counter on it. Okay, so that Dothy Voidwalker can cast spells exiled by the other earlier Dothy Voidwalker. So I do have to remove this now, or else they get free cards out of it. Because they can just plus Liliana, and then I destroy it in response, and they cast a Baleful Strix or whatever in response to that. Right, are they even going to exile this? Okay, they are. They could have just declined and not worried about Stoneforge Mystic this game. But now a removal spell gives them a 1/1, but yeah. I've misbuilt this deck by at least one piece of the mana base, and it's going to cost me this game as a result. Is there anything left I'm drawing towards? And I guess Abrupt Decay can kill this thing and get me a 1/1 and start to fight back. If they plus Liliana, we're both Hellbent. If they don't plus Liliana, alright, they definitely plus Liliana. I'm looking for Abrupt Decay here. Stifle. That's not good enough. Yeah, I needed Stifle last turn, because they can just attack for 6 here, and I can Stifle one of them and I still get hit for 4. Yep, okay. So the deck is misbuilt by at least one card, for sure. That one's on me. I cut the basic swamp, didn't add another black source. I think there's too many fetch lands, not enough actual mana sources in this deck, and my bad. A note for the final list. We're about halfway through the video, so let me just remind you that if you like this deck and you want to try it out, you can use the code BoshNRoll to support the channel while you shop for cards at tcgplayer.com, and you can play any deck anytime with cardhoarder.com loan account on Magic Online. These links are in the video description below. Now back to the league. On the play, in round number 3, I'm going to keep this hand even though I'm not mega excited about it. Do have a nice little path to an Uro. The dazes are awkward, but it's okay. Also, I apologize if you've heard fan noise in the back of this video so far. My computer is being louder than average today, and I'm not sure why. I've made some physical adjustments to my environment that hopefully it stops picking that up or doesn't pick it up as hard, but I'm trying. Right, Ponder Shuffle is nice. That lets me hardcast Daze this turn with no... I didn't have to like desperately counter a Ragavan or anything there. That's a good deal. Alright, if they're just gonna cast Brainstorm like that after shuffling a Ponder, I'm gonna Daze it. Daze. Right, there is another land involved. Okay, so I'm gonna play Wasteland, and then I'm gonna play Uro, and I'm gonna put in the Misty Rainforest. Misty's in. Uro's in the graveyard. I can Daze them now, and it doesn't hurt so bad because I just pulled ahead a land. This mono blue business is weirding me out. So I'm gonna Brainstorm. I can Daze a Hull Breacher if they have that. Alright, I don't think Wasteland's gonna be part of the plan here. I think it's safe to say at this point. And I'm not convinced on Fatal Push either. So I'm gonna cast Tarmogoyf and pass the turn. I don't want to fetch into a Stifle. Like they have shown me mono blue over there. If this is like High Tide, we have some pretty reasonable play against it. If it's just like a blue, like mono blue Omni Show. I was about to say if it's an energy field deck, but Lotus Petal is not in energy field decks. Not really sure what's going on over there. Orum's Chant. Okay, so they are trying to kill me right now. Somehow. So I'm gonna Force of Will this and pitch the Baleful Strix. Sorry, Baleful Strix. You are not part of the plan. Another Lotus Petal. Do they know that Underworld Breach is banned? Okay, it is a show and tell. And this petal is a big deal. So I can Daze this picking up Tropical Island, and then Show and Tell I can put Tropical Island back into play. This will at least play around Show and Tell, putting in Sneak Attack, which I don't think they're doing anyway. Alright, I think I've lost this game. That was a really good turn. They were able to generate 5 mana for Show and Tell, Lotus, or Show and Tell, Orim's Chant, and the other thing, Cunning Wish. Yeah, Stifle lines up against some of the stuff that might happen here, but mostly not. Yeah, so now they just shared summons, they get 2 things. And I can't stifle. I can stifle like a Grizzlebrand activation or Emrakul's trigger, but not enough to actually win this game. Harsh. Orim's Chant was a banger. That one definitely put me to the test. We can expect Teferi Time Raveler in this deck. This is clearly just the blue-white Omnishow deck. So Thoughtseize, Surgical Extraction, the 4th Force of Will. Do I want Dress Down? I think I want Liliana. Needle can name Grizzlebrand. What is less good? I'm boarding out Dreadnoughts and Scrolls again, and this is, again, not a shot at Phyrexian Dreadnought. If you've been watching the channel, you know I'm really into Phyrexian Dreadnought and think it's actually good, but my shot is definitely at the fact that we're playing against combo, and our incentives are different than they would normally be. So I could bring in Abrupt Decays to pressure Teferi's. Like, Teferi is their defense grid. It's nice that I don't have to Force of Will every Teferi that goes on the stack. Stifle can hinder their development, and I do want to be... I want some closing power. Like, I can't just fart around forever. Oh, Uro. I mean, Daze is good, but they're clearly capable of playing around it. I just realized there's only one Ponder in this deck. How did this happen? Oh, right, because we're full of 2-drops. That's how this happened. That's why this has felt weird. Like, this whole league I've been, like, feeling like there's not a lot of cantrips in this deck, especially when I keep opening 7s, and that's why, because there's just not. We're playing a different sort of thing. Okay. I'm on board now. That's why there's 21 lands in the deck as well, because you're not cantripping for 18 lands with this pile. Got it. So Uro is reasonable. I want some number of Abrupt Decays. Tarmogoyf's great. I can put in Dress Down off of a Show and Tell in a desperate situation, but I think I'd rather cut Daze. Or do I want Daze and I should cut Strix? No, I think this is fine. So won the die roll. I'm going to keep this hand. It can cast Ponder on turn 1, find some stuff, do some stuff. So I'm into it. I don't think I'm going to get turn 1 tier. Like, I just don't think that's a thing the deck is very good at doing. Their deck, that is. They're definitely built more along the line of making sure their thing happens when they go for it, not so much making it happen quickly. So, pondering up. Alright, yeah. Thoughtseize is definitely my business. Flooded Strand is fetched. And ponder. So I'm going to Thoughtseize them, see what they're cooking with. Like, if I can Thoughtseize them, make the way for Liliana, and just start harassing their hand, that's a way out of this. I just got to make sure that their hand can't go off under Liliana, because that is pretty much a commitment to both of us eventually being Hellbent. They did not shuffle their ponder. So they could be hiding something good from me on the top of their deck. I'm gonna Thoughtseize, see what they've got. Luckily their combo requires at least 3 cards, so they can't hide everything from me. I'm gonna take the Show and Tell. The rest of these cards are they all play the game, but not in the way that they want to. Like, this hand without a Show and Tell doesn't do anything, and if they just hit Omniscience on top, that's pretty bad for them. I'm gonna shuffle because I know I don't want these top cards. I'm gonna get the other Underground Sea. 2 of 2. I'm gonna play Baleful Strix. Because I see the Spell Pierce, I see the Swords to Plowshares. Lazav's not great. They can Spell Pierce Liliana. Let's see how perfect that Ponder was, where their top cards show and tell Omniscience the whole time. So they would need a land. If they do have a land, I can waste that. So they're in some trouble here. Stifle's great. Is Stifle great? I don't know. Probably not, actually. Stifle's whatever. So if they have a fetch land, the Stifle will bait their Spell Pierce. This Lazav will get the Swords to Plowshares out of their hand. Lazav has resolved. Put the Wasteland in my graveyard. I don't need the third one of those. Didn't really want the first or second. The first did find a target, though. Oh, they didn't plow. No respect. No love at all for my boy Lazav. Get another Baleful Strix. Let's see what we can put together here. Tarmogoyf's pretty good. Right, so attacking. Plow, 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 plow. Nope. They're still not falling for it. Alright, cast your Plow. Now I'm just jamming stuff onto the stack. I want to get their hand empty. Or get their hand low, at least. If they don't Plow Tarmogoyf, I don't know what they're saving that card for. Next turn I can cast Liliana with Spell Pierce Protection, so they'll have to force it. Obviously the turn I tap out of Stifle, they have a fetch land. So their hand right now is Force, Pierce, Cunning Wish, and 2 unknowns. If it's Show and Tell Omniscience, I quit Magic. Alright, looks like we dodged the worst of it. Attacking with all my things. There's nothing in graveyards to copy right now. I'm gonna make them Force of Will me. Here's Liliana. Your Spell Pierce isn't good enough. Force, pitching Spell Pierce, as predicted. I am in trouble though. Like, they can just set up a multi-turn line here. If they Cunning Wish for Intuition and then Intuition for Show and Tells. Alright, they're just getting Impulse. So they're digging here. I gotta get this game over with or find another piece of counter magic or interaction. Alright, there's that. They don't really have anything good to bounce. So I don't think they want to bounce. Yeah, they just want to make sure Teferi survives. So Abrupt Decay is a good draw here. Uro is an excellent draw here. Stifle is among the worst draws possible here. Yeah, I need to take out Teferi. I can get it done in 2 turns. But if they just combo me out here, I lose. Great. Okay. I guess I'm not going to put in my Wasteland. I'll just put in nothing. So they have 2 cards. They have Impulse and a Mystery card. There's Impulse. Ponder. The digging continues. Show me a shuffle and pass the turn. Shuffle and pass the turn. They did not shuffle. Backup Ponder. Okay. That makes sense. Winging a prayer here, folks. They did not shuffle again. Another Ponder. Storm is 5. Did not shuffle again. Seagate Restoration. So they draw 1 card here. Draw cards equal number of cards in your hand plus 1. Oh, they draw 2 cards. Alright, so that's all the cards they just saw off Ponder. Alright, this one's going to be a lot better. Alright, now we're dead. I had some faith when they were treading water with 1 card left in hand, but I no longer have faith. Okay, Cunning Wish. We're just dead. Yeah, just couldn't clock them. We kept them under wraps for a while, but just couldn't get there. So that is a problem. The not having the full 8 Brainstorm Ponder kind of stuff means that you are at the mercy of what cards your deck just draws. And not being able to select that hurts a lot. Like, you're basically choosing to play Maverick, but with blue cards in your deck, when the reason to not play Maverick is to get cantrips. So I don't think I like that particular aspect of the deck. Let's check out the deck real quick and talk about this. So the 1 Ponder, my brain didn't even register that this is 1. I just saw Brainstorm and Ponder next to each other and thought we had the full boat. I think that this deck should have 3 Dreadnoughts in it, 2 Scroll of Fate, maybe 3 Strix, and 4 Ponder, maybe 3 Wasteland for the 4th Ponder. Yeah, like cut a Scroll, cut a Dreadnought, cut a Wasteland, and play 4 Ponders, and I think this deck gets better immediately. And cut a Polluted Delta for a 3rd Underground Sea. And those are all improvements we could make to the deck very quickly. So The final list that I post will have those changes, plus anything else I think about over the last 2 rounds. Let's go to the next one. On the draw here with kind of a rough one, but like I said, now that I know there's not 8 cantrips in the deck, how much can I really hope for out of an opener? I'm going to keep this on the draw. I have Stifles for Wasteland, so I don't really need to worry about getting wasted. I do have to worry about getting comboed out on turn 1, though. So, Lotus Petal Preordain is pretty aggro. Do they not have a land? Do they have, like... Okay, we're just getting Doomsdayed right now. Cool. Alright, so Stifle at least has text against Doomsday, but I don't think they would go this fast if they didn't have protection. If I draw a Force of Will, I might feel okay about this setup. If I draw Wasteland, I might feel okay about this setup. I don't know, I need something that's going to mess with them in a meaningful way. This is Neville Shoot, though. Who knows exactly what they're doing. Like, whatever the right pile is, they're going to find it. I drew Ponder. I think I just have to hope this Stifle holds up. I'm sure it won't, but I'm going to try. Another land, please? Shit. If I had a second land and I could Stifle, that's kind of what I'm interested in. Yeah, if I could Stifle, I would feel good about this, but now knowing that they can do what they want to do with Counterspell backup, I don't think they would be able to beat 2 Stifles with a Doomsday pile, but they will beat 1. Alright, they're passing the turn again. And oh shit, I was supposed to fetch. Maybe not. Okay, so I'm gonna go to my cleanup step and just discard Abrupt Decay. If I discard Phyrexian Dreadnought, they're going to know immediately what I'm doing, and they're going to start playing around Stifle. So I'm not going to give them that opportunity. I'm going to Stifle twice, and that's my plan. Right, so they're fetching their deck to empty. They play the Oracle. I'm going to fetch in response. Get Underground Sea. Alright, here is this. Stifle. Force of Will. Resolves. Is their last card Daze? Okay, my bet paid off. I didn't think they could beat 2 Stifles with most Doomsday piles. I mean, they literally could. There is a card left, but they didn't have it this time. That's scary. Alright. Bring in the sideboard stuff. The Thoughtseize. The Extractions. The extra Force. The extra Dress Down. And once again, we're going to cut some number of Dreadnoughts. And once again, it's not Dreadnought's fault. Liliana's a maybe, but probably not. So Dreadnoughts out. Scrolls out. And Abrupt Decay, not really part of this matchup. I think Liliana is better than Abrupt Decay. Baleful Strix's not great in the matchup either, but I'm going to go for it. I don't think I brought in Liliana last time, but I am going to try it this time. No Landos? You're out of here. Alright, this one's pretty interactive. Oh, this shouldn't be in the deck. Good thing I get to send it to the bottom. I could definitely do better than Fatal Push, just with some other card. Even just any random blue card from my sideboard to pitch to Force would be better than Fatal Push. Preordaining. And they bottomed that. Another Force I'm not upset about. Now I need to find a land to start casting these Strixes. And then things start to get okay. Bummer. Alright, that's enough Forces, deck. The good news is, I don't think they play Cabal Therapy. So I can counter 4 spells right now. On deck, land. Land. Damn. Okay. I'm gonna discard... Is it Tarmogoyf for one of the Strixes? I mean, discarding Strix grows the Goyf. That takes me off triple Force, though. Alright, I'm gonna discard the Goyf, out of respect for their combo. I mean, they know I have 7 spells in my hand right now. Because I didn't play land, went to discard. They know what's going on. Okay, at least that one's an easy one to discard. Urro's in the graveyard. Lazav's ready to feast. At 21 lands in this deck. And no Ponders, though. I guess that's the variable. Now it's time to start doing stuff. Do I want a Lazav or Strix? I think I want Lazav. They both see additional cards. Like, I can still hold up Triple Force either way, but Lazav represents an actual clock starting next turn, and Strix gives them all the time in the world. Right, they seem to have thoughts about Lazav. Yeah, I'm not going to fight over it. If they're using their dazes on Lazav, that's more chance that my counterplay will work against the combo, which is what I'm really after here. Straight Wraith into Preordained, so to see a bunch of extra cards here. One top, one bottom. And fetch, shuffle that card they didn't want right back into the deck. Ideas Unbound, just a raunchy little Ideas Unbound right now. Is this a daze? Probably, right? I think so. Yeah, with this late into the game, I don't know if I could count on daze to really do anything better. Wasteland. I could waste them off triple black, but I think I'd rather advance my board state and draw more cards with Baleful Strix. Because if I'm not dealing damage to them, I'm not doing anything. And that's not an acceptable place to be. Now I'm down to 2 forces instead of 3. Alright, take a look. Soak it in. Now I'm down to 1 force, though, because they have to take Force of Will, and I only have 1 blue card to pitch. Alright, I'm going to attack with my Strix and see what happens. Strix gets in. I'm going to play Wasteland and then cast the Strix. I'm just playing around days here, because I do want to increase my board, and I am going to hit them with the Waste. Anything I can do to deny options at this point is a good thing. Right, they do have red mana in their deck, so they are a Pyroblast build. And I'm going to attack for 2. And I can jam this Uro, which puts the fetch land into play to escape Uro next turn. I only had 1 force anyway, so it's not like I'm giving up anything by putting that blue card in the graveyard. Like, if they can beat Force of Will, then they beat me. I just don't have double blue right now. Oh god. Is there an exile your deck combo here? Or is this just to scry 2? Okay. What does this do when you're not winning the game? Put up to 1 of them on top of your library and the rest on the bottom in a random order. Okay, so they did see a card they liked with the Thassa's Oracle. I am going to attack for 2 again. This is where I get blown out by a ninja picking up Thassa's Oracle. Ooh. The sideboard juke nobody was ready for. I'm going to bring back Uro. I'm trying to find another blue card. Blue, blue, green, green. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't have Snapcaster Mage, but I do have Tarmogoyf and Lazav that care about the graveyard. Alright, Wasteland's not bad. I can take them off red here. I also could have wasted their Flooded Strand, which could have forced a shuffle when they just kept a card they liked with Thassa's Oracle. Brainstorm's pretty good, always. But I am trying to work my way around to this double Force of Will, just trying to get another blue card in my hand. I can cast Brainstorm and put back 2 cards and end up with blue cards in my hand. Like, it's possible that that is a thing that happens. Stifle is a great find. Now I'm feeling pretty good. And I'm making real attacks, drawing real cards. I am not going to put that into play because that's the sort of thing I want to brainstorm away. Did I have to kill Oracle there for them to do anything? Like, if Oracle's just in play, Doomsday combo doesn't work, right? Did I just blow it? Okay, this is actually pretty exciting. This is going to be hard for them to get through, I think. And I do have lethal on board. I have 8 damage. Alright, Dark Ritual resolves. Doomsday. I don't think this is the fight I want to fight. I'm going to let them have the Doomsday, because they have to go right now, like this turn, or else they lose. And I can dress down twice, and I just win on the board. Yeah, I can dress down twice and cast Stifle and do it all with Force Backup. Like, this is going to be hard to beat. I don't know what the line is. I will be every time, so like every time I play against Doomsday, and I'm like, I don't know what they can do here. I don't know what they'll, if they even have a line, they just like find it and win easily. So I'm kind of rooting for them just out of pure academic morbid curiosity. We'll see what they end up doing. Doomsday has resolved. They're at 3. They're starting to make plays. Lotus Petal. All right. I'm pretty sure if I just put Dress Down into play at any point, they can't win. Ideas Unbound. I'll Dress Down in response to this. Or do I force this? I think I'm going to force this. See if I can get a counterspell out of them. Though they have 1 card left. Like, it could be... Okay, Pact of Negation resolves. And then I cast Dress Down. And then I'm pretty sure we win. Yeah, the Dreadnought decks are actually are just like naturally good against Doomsday because everything that gets Phyrexian Dreadnought into play also stops Thassa's Oracle from functioning, which is just like a really cool little side game that's happening in the Greater Legacy metagame. Like, Doomsday is a very powerful deck, but not many people know how to play it. And Dreadnought is kind of a meme deck, and not many people realize that it's actually good. So it's just funny that here in this like offshoot of an offshoot in a specific matchup, there's this really tough little nut to crack for the Doomsday decks. So, all right, we beat Doomsday. I'll take it. Final round's coming. On the draw in the final round, playing for the positive record. I'm going to keep this hand. It has a Dreadnought and some interaction on the way up. I'm not like mega excited about it, but if this is a fair matchup, this is a pretty good place to be. Abrupt Decay is good against Delver and Ragavan kind of stuff, even if they do come out of the gates blazing. A combo deck's going to beat me, so let's just see where this goes. Bloodstained Mire. Well, that's bad. Those are generally not in fair decks. Ignoble Hierarch. Oh, is this Jund? Is this the fairest deck of all? Mirror, mirror on the wall? Okay. Daze... does Daze even matter? Like, I guess I could Daze a Lilion of the Veil or some such thing this turn. Goblin Crater Maker. That can destroy my Phyrexian Dreadnought. Good thing I have Abrupt Decay. Ooh, they don't have a land. Interesting. Alright, well, I'm definitely going to have to beat up this Goblin Crater Maker because I'm not winning this game without my Scroll of Fate. I might have just let myself play into Veil of Summer. I don't know. Maybe I should have just main phased that since I knew I was going to do it anyway. There's also a line for the Maniacs out there to just Abrupt Decay the Ignoble Hierarch on my turn, and then leave them on 1 mana and hope they never do anything. This could be the Goblin combo deck, the Goblin Food Chain. Well, let's get to work. I'm going to fetch. I've drawn enough lands. I have another fetch land. Just thinning this 1 land out of my deck seems like the right play right now. Scroll of Fate. You're dead in 2. Please don't Food Chain combo me. I have a Daze for a Food Chain, but not if they have a land. Food Chain mana cannot pay for Daze, so I could clip something higher up the chain even if they do have a zillion mana. That's just bad. So now I can't Daze their Ringleader or their Food Chain. Right, War Chief is in play. Goblins cost less and have haste now. Pile Driver, okay. This actually isn't that bad. Like, if they attack, I could just manifest a land and block. I don't think I want this. I think, yeah, I'll keep the Pluto Delta in case I draw Brainstorm. Then next turn, I can ambush in a Dreadnought. I'll have the mana up to block and flip it. I care about taking 3. I think getting War Chief off the board is more important. Infinite blockers. Let's go. I have enough of those now, deck. I guess I could have just taken my 5 that turn, but I'm more worried about what's left in their hand. Like, the War Chief is such a problem. Both haste and cost reducing are the 2 things that can let them go nuts around what I'm doing. Alright, so they went from not enough mana to maybe too much mana. They can't Muxus right now because I removed their War Chief, which is the important thing. Alright, well, there's Food Chain. They can 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They can Muxus now if they want to go all in, but they tapped their Cavern to cast Food Chain, which is insane if Muxus is the plan, because they could have made it uncounterable and then just chose not to. I'm gonna lose to this, aren't I? Oh wait, no, they're tapping wrong. If this is Muxus, we're good. Okay, cool. Alright, yeah. They basically played that turn wrong in every possible way that was available to them. If they just tap Ignoble Hierarch, leaving Cavern untapped, I can't daze the Muxus. If they sack the Pile Driver, leaving an Ignoble Hierarch to tap, they can pay for daze, but I got pretty lucky there. Sorry, doesn't work. You're not paying for a creature spell right now, you're paying for Daze's demand. Food Chain only pays for creature spells, not extra cost demanded by other creatures or other effects. Like, if this was a sphere of something or other, like a sphere of resistance, you could use Food Chain mana for that. Wow. You can see that there are cards in my hand. It doesn't even have to be Phyrexian Dreadnought. Just don't attack. Okay. They didn't attack. Bang. Surprise. 12/12. I'm just flipping up now. I'm doing it anyway. Might as well save the mana. Wow. Dress Down locks this right up. Now even if they draw Muxus and make it uncounterable, they're still dead because it doesn't get a trigger. I kind of hope they do draw Muxus right now. 3, 4, 5, 6. They have exactly enough mana to cast Muxus. I'm rooting for them at this point. I want to feel something right now. Okay, they're dead. Remember that time I dazed the Muxus when they had 12 mana, including 2 Cavern of Souls? Ha! Didn't deserve that one, but I'll take it. Alright, Plague Engineers. That's why these are in the deck at all. I think Scroll and I actually think Dreadnought's pretty good in this matchup. But I think Scroll is not the way that I want to get it into play. I want Dress Down for sure, because that just lines up extremely well against what they're doing. Like, just countering a Muxus. Like, their deck is designed to jam Muxus onto the stack and then chain Muxus into Muxus with the food chains. But if their creatures don't do stuff when they ETB, then that doesn't matter. I don't really like Force of Will. I do like Abrupt Decay. Like, I'm not going to cut out the forces that I have, but I don't think I want to add the other one. Though maybe I have to. Is Thoughtseize... I actually do think Thoughtseize is pretty good. Toxic Deluge is good. Liliana can be good. Like, if I get them to if I whittle the game down to sort of a control-y point, Liliana has text, but she's real bad if they go even a little bit wide on me. I think that Daze is just out. They're on the play. They have a bunch of fast mana. They have Cavern of Souls. I think I have to shave some number of Dreadnought. Oh, Scroll of Fate's supposed to be gone. All of them. Just every single one gone. I'm bringing in Dress Down. I have all the Stifles. I'm down to 3 Dreadnoughts. Still have Lazav. So I have a bunch of ways to do Dreadnought stuff. Alright, Hydroblast should be in this deck too. I have a lot of sideboard incidentally here for Goblins. That's fun. Lazav, Decay, Force. Do I cut another Force? Force on Food Chain will always be good, but it's just sort of betting. Like, I have Abrupt Decay for Food Chain as well. I have Disruptive Elements all over the place. Yeah, I'm gonna go down to 2 forces. Maybe that's nuts, but I think it's what I'm gonna do. Stifle is really good because even when the creature is uncounterable, like, they can have the 1/1 body on Goblin Matron if they don't get to search their deck for Muxus. They can have the 4/4 body on Muxus if they don't chuck their whole deck into play. Like, there's some give and take there. Also, Stifle, just putting a 12/12 into play early is a big way to win this game. I like what I'm looking at here. Let's do it. Yep, Cavern of Souls. Glad I cut all those counterspells. Goblin Lackey. Alright, that one, I can stifle the trigger. And then work my way up the curve. Just trying to survive until I can Plague Engineer, basically. I'm pretty sure this build does not have Wasteland in it, but if it does, I just played the wrong land. If they have Pyroblast, they also get to protect their trigger. So the Lackey connects. They stifle the trigger. Ooh, they fetched in response. Cool. Now they can't Pyroblast. And I'm stifling Lackey, not the land. obviously. That was a weird time to fetch. I think they have Muxus in their hand, and they were thinking I'm going to thin a land out of the deck before Muxus comes in. But if you're going to do that, you should let Muxus come in and fetch in response to its trigger. Hopefully I just dodged a Pyroblast. But I am going to need to find another answer to this Goblin. Alright, little worried here, but time to brainstorm. Not helpful. Oh, I actually think Ponder would have been better there. That was bad. Alright, I'm going to put back Lazav and one of the lands. I do like the other Lazav. And I am going to Ponder here and just hope that Toxic Deluge does the job next turn. Or Goblin Engineer. Or Plague Engineer, not Goblin Engineer. That card is not in my deck. Wasteland, Brainstorm. These are not cards that I need. Okay. I bought one turn off Goblin Lackey. Let's see if that was enough. If I'm on the play, this game is over. On the draw, we've got some more to play. Like, I can afford to Toxic Deluge for 4 and clean up some massive number of goblins. Gotta hope I'm not dead right now. If they go to, like, second main and play... Oh, wow. They hit one goblin. That was not good. So I can Deluge for 4 and try to bridge the gap up into Plague Engineer, which is a much better card once the board is clear. Like, Plague Engineer on this board kills Lackey and then, like, doesn't do anything against the rest of this board. Just shrinks it briefly. Toxic Deluge. I haven't cast this card in a long time. Plague Engineer basically invalidated it. I'm going to pay 4. That kills all the creatures that are in play. If they can give Muxus +1/+1 somehow, I'm dead. They were unable to do that. Now let's see if Liliana and Plague Engineer can carry the day. Oh, if this is a Ringleader, that Ancient Tomb was insane. Damn. Yeah, I was just thinking, like, they don't even get to do much on 2 mana, but they jump straight to 4. It changes the math quite a bit. Get in for 2 here. Abrupt Decay doesn't help me. So I could Liliana minus, or I could Engineer. Because if they can chain Ringleader into some removal... No, I'm going to go for the Engineer first. Oh, wait. Maybe I go for Liliana, because I only have 2 black sources. Next turn I can double spell. I could also double spell now. If I play Lazav now, and have Abrupt Decay for the War Chief, that gives me a little bit of selection. But that doesn't let me cast Liliana and Engineer. Like, if I Liliana now, kill this Ringleader, and then I can go Plague Engineer plus Abrupt Decay next turn. Yeah, I think I have to just play around my sketchy mana base here. And I'm going to lose Liliana to the other Ringleader attack. But that's okay, I'm just trying to keep them off critical mass. Though, I do think that they have managed to exist one step ahead of me this whole game. If they didn't draw that Ancient Tomb right now, I think I'm good, but they did, so that's magic. The other Ringleader on the stack, can't counter it. Don't have Stifle. The Crater Maker is in their hand now. Their deck has a lot of spells for a deck that wants a critical mass of goblins. I really hope they don't respect Liliana and just let me start plussing. Alright, cool. They didn't respect Liliana, and I get to start plussing. Let's see how that ends up playing out for them. So, I think that leaving up Abrupt Decay is better than casting Lazav. Oh, they're literally showing me Crater Maker, so my Engineer is actually pretty bad. That's unfortunate. But if they have Crater Maker, they don't get to do anything else that turn, and then Lazav can copy Engineer on the following turn, maybe? Okay, here's Plague Engineer, naming Goblin. And I think I cast Lazav now. So if they play War Chief, if they draw a red source, it doesn't matter if they play War Chief, so I am going to cast Lazav now. This just makes sure that I have Plague Engineer next turn, and I can get a second one if they don't kill it right away. Lazav being more Plague Engineers is pretty cool. Oh wait, no, I can't copy cards in play. They would have to kill it for Lazav to become it. Alright, never mind. But this is a line to keep a Plague Engineer in play. If I could just mill over an Uro or a Dreadnought right now, that's pretty cool. I'm actually gonna bin this because they're not gonna kill me with small creatures at this point. They're gonna kill me with Muxus and Ringleader. I have Decay in hand. They're gonna be able to just pop off and wreck me or not. Yep, there's the Crater Maker. I suspect they're going to make a crater out of my Plague Engineer. Confirmed. This Ancient Tomb, even though it's the whole reason they're in the game, has been dealing a lot of damage to them as this game has gone on. Oh, you have Fury. Alright. Yikes. Alright, Fury can also damage Planeswalkers. Yeah, so Fury just kills Lazav. Can't. Okay, it doesn't actually kill Liliana. Like, they could have attacked Liliana for lethal anyway, so that doesn't... It's not free. I'll take anything that's not free. Make them pay. Still no respect for Liliana, still just coming for the face. Though, this 4 mana casting cost is a reason not to respect Liliana. Okay. That's tough. Because I could kill this one and kill the next one. Yeah, I think that's just the play. I don't get to plus Liliana here. So now they know that both the cards in my hand are good. The 4th Ringleader. That's all 4 of them, by the way. Alright, they finally picked up 3 cards. Yeah, they got everything they wanted out of that one. So they should just go face, because they have lethal as far as they know. Alright, destroy that. And I'm dead to the Sling Gang Lieutenant. I'm at 2. And Sling Gang Lieutenant is just lethal. So, this one's not going well. I need Uro to even pretend to have a chance. Uro like needs to cantrip into something else that's good, which it's not going to do. Alright, yeah, we were just a step behind them on that game. That turn 1 Lackey, I could buy 1 turn off it, I needed 2. If I'm on the play, I stifle their Lackey on 2, untap, and remove it with the Engineer. So, yeah, that was rough. Do I want more Liliana's Triumph kind of stuff, or not? I don't think so. I have all of my cheap interaction in. Force of Will is the only cheap interaction that I could bring in that I haven't yet. And I don't think that I want it. For all the reasons I described in the previous one. I could go to the full 4 Dreadnoughts this game and just try to maximum cheese. Because Goblin Crater Maker is basically their only way to remove a 12/12. Alright, Force of Will's out. I am just tap out, smash out, let's party, aggro now. Do I want even the 1 Force of Will? I could bring in Pithing Needle and just name like Sling Gang Lieutenant or something. I could also bring in Liliana's Triumph. I'm on the play, so this is another answer to a Goblin Lackey. So I actually, being on the play, I like Triumph. Okay, 0 Force of Will. If they have Food Chain, they have Food Chain. My Stifles and Dress Sounds are my answers to that. And let's just hope this works. Right, I'm on the play. I'm going to keep this. I can Thoughtseize into Lazav. His hand doesn't have green, but Lazav is both a 1/3 blocker and card selection. And if I can get this Uro into the graveyard, Lazav becomes insano. See what we're dealing with here. Lackey Crater Maker. So there is a game to be played here of I could take the Hierarch, play Lazav, and just put a 1/3 body in front of Goblin Lackey and blanket that way. They don't have any source of actual red mana, so I actually am going to do that. Yeah. Oh, but we've seen a deck full of Furies. We saw at least 2 Furies out of them, and just giving them Muxus for no reason sounds so stupid. Maybe I just take the Muxus, and I can block Lackey anyway. Yeah, I'll take the payoff. I'm not going to take Lackey. Let's do it that way. Yeah, I saw 2 Furies last game and 2 Pyroblasts, so that's my concern with just betting that Lazav will hold. Alright, Lazav, I need you to scry into a land, preferably a green one, but I won't be picky. If we can find... Alright, into the graveyard. if I can find a land here and sweep out their mana from under them, it's going to be a big deal. If I can't do that, that's also going to be a big deal. Cavern for Crater Maker. That's in. Come on, deck. Moment of truth. I mean, I'm going to block, you maniac. I have a 1-3. Land! Land, 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 land! Fuck! Alright. That sucks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So they can get up to 5 mana this turn with the Ancient Tomb. Stifle does help against a lot of the scariest things in their deck, but I'm still not happy with the situation. Yeah, so this is getting stifled. And we're not doing that. Lackey and 2 mystery cards left in their hand, and they can attack for 3 now with one of their creatures, and I can't block effectively. Yep, here comes an exalted attack. Can't stop it. Come on, deck. Land, 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 please, land. Jesus. Alright, that card is not the worst card there's ever been. That does at least slow down their attacks, maybe. I can destroy their Crater Maker, and then my Engineer gets to stick and play. But they have 4 cards in their hand now. If they just like land Muxus, I'm wrecked. Not like this deck. Not like this. It's another Ringleader. Jesus. They're really good at drawing that card. Okay. They have a Muxus now and a 3rd Ringleader. Cool. Good stuff. We're having a good time right now. Oh, could I have copied Tarmogoyf last turn? No, because I stifled. Alright, I can copy Tarmogoyf this turn and block. So they don't actually have attacks. Tarmogoyf is 4/5. Alright. Mana value X. Okay, yeah. So it doesn't have to be the color. Block. And then we become Tarmogoyf. If they... So they're going to lose the Ringleader in combat. They can use Crater Maker to finish this off. But that's another piece of material off their board. And we're back to hoping to draw a land, which is still the case. Always has been, always will be. Alright, they did make that play. Come on, deck. Land. Let's go. That turn after Lazav died as well. And this is not the creature I need to kill. Like, the creature I actually need to kill is not red. Cavern of Souls is going to just kill me now. Ugh. Difficult Magic. 21 lands in the deck. I've had 4 draw steps plus a Lazav filter, and now I'm just going to get Muxus into the earth. Okay. Muxus resolves. Because I can't stop it. How bad is it? So they get a Goblin Matron and a War Chief. So I'm going to let Matron tutor, and then I'm going to Hydroblast War Chief before they can just hit me for billions. Sling-Gang Lieutenant. Hydroblast before combat. At least take the haste off of Muxus. I take 3 here, I go to 11. A land kills Ignoble Hierarch and Goblin Matron and gets ahead of the Sling Gang. And still in bad shape, even if I draw the land, but it is something. Like, that Muxus didn't kill me outright. So how about a chance here, Dak? It's been long enough. You owe me one. Nope. Nobody owes you anything in this world. Well, 17 cards into the deck, only 2 lands among them. I can block Muxus. They play Sling Gang. I don't know. Let's have another turn. See if they mess this up somehow. 1, 2, 3. I go to 8. Sling Gang is good for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, I mean, they have a lethal line here if they decide to just put the pedal to the metal. Or if they have Fury, or Crater Maker, or Munitions Expert, or, you know, just any of these magic cards that exist. If they're tapping black mana, they're unlikely to miss the line here. Okay, yep, Sling Gang Lieutenant. It's hard to mess this up once you've committed to casting Sling Gang. The way that you mess this up is by... how do you mess this up? It's by a strategic malfunction of playing the wrong cards in the deck. It's not a... Like, if they were like, I'm going to play my lackeys and hide my other stuff for the turn. That's how they mess this game up. But that's not what happened. So I block here. I take 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If they throw Muxus at me, which they should, they will win. Which they should. Oh, I miscounted too. Oh no, because Muxus already happened. I counted exactly right. But I am exactly dead. There is no solace in knowing that you're dead for Xaxes. Well, folks, sometimes you keep a 2-lander with Plague Engineer, and you just die on turn 6 without a 3rd land. That's magic. Though, we did talk about how this deck doesn't have Ponder in it, which does a good job of helping you make sure you hit your 3rd land drop. I'm not sure if we can blame this one on the structural integrity of the deck, or just bad variance. And I've drawn a full 1/4 of my deck with 21 lands in it, and I've seen 2 lands. So that's definitely bad variance, but we aren't maximizing our ability to find those lands either, is what I'm saying. So what would I do with this deck? Scroll, Dreadnought, Wasteland out, Ponders in, one of the fetch lands out, Underground Sea in. I think the deck wants a Bayou. It's just awkward to have it alongside Daze. So I'm going to cut the basic forest for a Bayou, and it is what it is. Like, if we get Blood Moon, we get Blood Moon. We're pretty exposed to Wasteland anyway, but we're a Stifle deck, so we're not even that exposed to Wasteland. I'm not sure if this is supposed to be a Daze deck is another factor. Like, you could just not play Daze or play fewer of them. Play discard spells in that spot and just sort of curve up, like Thoughtseize you into Dreadnought Stifle. Like, I don't really like how little this deck was doing on 1 mana. So I am gonna make that change. And I'm gonna stop there for now. Those are the like glaring structural issues with the deck that we ran into, and those are now resolved. If you're playing against a Blood Moon deck, bring in your Hydroblast, leave up green-black when you can for Abrupt Decay, and play your Force of Wills. So like that's how you're gonna have to beat that. I don't think this deck gets to play a bunch of basics or pretend that it can really beat Blood Moon. So that's what I'm gonna do with that. The Lazav never really did its thing this game, or this league, unfortunately, because it's a really cool thing. I wish it was doing it, but it just didn't line up. Lazav, the Surveil one is actually really good. Just being able to keep Lazav basically as a Baleful Strix, where it enters the battlefield, impacts the battlefield, and provides card selection, and sometimes card advantage if you ever do mill the Uro or the Dreadnought. So, Lazav is sweet. This particular league wasn't the best one, but we saw where the deck is doing cool things. We identified a number of the fall shorts, like the number of times that we just like didn't have the 3rd land or didn't have the right colors in this 3-color deck with 21 lands in it is pretty embarrassing. But we also identified that that's why Ponder is in blue decks in Legacy. So we had to restructure the deck, get a little lower on the curve, and just a little more interaction. I do also think that replacing the Dazes, at least some of the Dazes, with Thoughtseizes is an upgrade to the deck, but I'm gonna let you choose your playstyle with that information. Actually, I'm not. No, you don't get to make that choice. Taking it away. I'm putting 2 Thoughtseizes in here, and I think some number of days is okay, because at some point you are going to be in a tight counter war, but a lot of the time you're just not. Like, the fact that this deck is trying to operate at Scroll of Fate speed, like you want to resolve a 3-drop, tap it to activate it, then spend another mana to get a Phyrexian Dreadnought, that's not a Daze deck. That's a control deck or a mid-range deck, and those decks are pretty bad with Daze in them. So I'm firing Daze, I'm bringing Force of Will into the main deck, and I'm not going to make you all watch while I fill out the sideboard and figure out the 60th card for the main deck, but yeah, this is just not a Daze deck, is my final answer on that one. I said I wasn't going to make you watch me fix the deck, but I forgot that I have the power of editing. So I've fixed the deck. We got a Flusterstorm and a Veil of Summer now. Veil helps against Abrupt Decay, which was the card that originally knocked Phyrexian Dreadnought out of Legacy a decade ago. So Veil is nice there. Veil also helps against combo decks and etc. The Plague Engineers, I think, too, is a good number. If you want to replace the Liliana with a third Plague Engineer, I would not be mad at you. I actually think that's pretty dope. So that's another thing you can do. And a third Thoughtseize in the board to go with the 2 in the main deck, and another Fatal Push in the main deck. This is where I'm going to land on this deck for now. And thank you, Robin, for asking me to play this. I'm glad I got a crack at it. I'm glad I got to feel what it's like to play a blue deck without 4 Ponders, because it was just really palpable throughout the league. Obviously, I've never done that. Ponder's like my shit, so I'm not going to cut Ponder from decks. But having actually tried it now and felt what it's like trying to hit your 3-drops without the full 8 blue cantrips to make sure you hit your 3rd land, yeah, I mean, it felt like I was playing Standard, and Standard decks don't play 20 lands. They play like 25, 26, 28 sometimes, because they need to hit their land drops on time. And we're playing Legacy, so make sure you have your Legacy cards in the deck. Thank you, for Robin. I hope that was constructive feedback. Thank you, everyone else, for watching. Remember to check out the Patreon, the YouTube membership. There's cool perks available. Make sure to use my affiliate code BoshNRoll when you're shopping on TCG Player. Make sure to like and subscribe while you're here, and I'll see you next time.